All right, man. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the daily money market. It is a Friday, the last day of the market, the last day of the trading market. In fact, we are bringing you the whole recap of the market analysis, what has been happening for the whole entire week. It's been really, exciting week. There have been a lot of news. I mean, the biggest one in terms of this week, it was PPI, Producer Price Index from United States, and as well as the CPI from United States Consumer Price Index. Before those numbers come out in terms of the report, we see the jobless claim we saw last week as well, coming with the non-farm payroll. So what we're trying to do is just to recap a little bit of what has been happening in the market and just try to share with you guys how the market has been performing and preparing to the next week. We are calling it the big week, the Trump week that is coming next week. It's a very big week. It is the United States inauguration day, which is going to be on the 21st on Monday. Trump is going to be inaugurated to be on a White House. So a lot of styles, a lot of economics, a lot of traders, they are actually predicting based on the Trump's policies, based on people that have been elected or has been appointed to be in a cabinet or to be in a bigger position. So, for example, when you talk about the border management, there's a certain people that you trust, they put them there. When you talk about technology, there's a certain specific people that you trust, to put them there. We saw Elon Musk also having a position in his cabinet as how he pitched himself when he had an interview last year on 2024 on his X. So we saw a lot of things. Most exciting again when it comes to next week Monday, I saw very interesting news in terms of TikTok CEO invited to Donald Trump inauguration ceremony. I mean, it's crazy. He is a Donald Trump, the one that actually closed TikTok to operate in the United States. If you remember, when he was a president, he actually, closed those. In fact, it was not specific TikTok. It started with Huawei when he closes the operation system. Instead of Huawei using the operation system of United States like Android, they removed that Android. They let them to create their own operation system. Following, they put a little bit of tariff to TikTok in terms of United States. So most of people in the United States, they don't have TikTok to be able, to use as one of the communication app or two, that it can be assisted to everyone, or you can have fun on those. So those are one of the interesting stuff to see. The CEO of TikTok is being invited for the inauguration of President Donald Trump that is coming next week Monday. But again, what we said, we are actually recapping, analyzing what has been happening for past week and jumping in terms of next week. Keep tuning in. This is the Daily Money Market. You are with me. All right, man. So as we said, we are actually, talking about, what happened last week. The latest CPI inflation report makes the January Federal Reserve Fed's rate cut very unlikely. In terms of a lot of people, they're, still participating or inspecting that the interest rate will be able to continue cut since from last year, November, December, whether it's 25 basis points or a 50 basis points. So what happened is that the Federal Reserve collected the data of all these events from producer price index, all right, from producer price index, from consumer price index, from as well jobless claim, all the way to non-farm payroll. So that's how Feds collect those reports, and then they will have the meeting that they call the Feds meeting. They include all the governors from different regions to meet together, including the ministers or representative of the government in terms of the finance and the economics. They'll be there to have a meeting and discuss about the new cut. So the federal right now, they said it's highly unlikely to cut because of the report that comes from consumer price index and as well as that comes from producer price index. But the article, just to be clearly, is that the December consumer price index report shown an acceleration in a year of the year total CPI inflation of 2.9%, the highest rate since July 2024. Meanwhile, the core PPI remained sticky and elevated, but declared strictly from 3.3% to 3.2% due to elevated year-on-the-year consumer inflation rates. The Fed will not change interest rate on a January 29. A change in the Fed policy in a March also seemed unlikely. However, it comes if consumer inflation rate eases in a second quarter 2025. It could pave the pathway to the Fed rate to start to continue cutting the interest rate on a May or January 2024. So the total CPI consumer price index inflation accelerated in December. This is what we just read. So despite already elevated inflation rate, the percentage of economic cushion that the December CPI report would likely show an acceleration in a year-to-year total consumer price index inflation rate, which is what CPI report reviewed. Fortunately, the year-on-year total CPI remained below 3%. So the estimation there is actually to go above 3%, but it actually still remain below 3% for total consumer price index. So the total producer price index, which is producer inflation, accelerated in December. The December CPI was just one or two major US inflation report released this week. Both the CPI and producer price index inflation reports were expected to be critical for the Fed's policies and markets this week. While these reports showed a relatively modest month-to-month cost pressure, a year-to-year total CPI and total PPI inflation rate accelerated. All right, so they're talking about the CPI and the PPI inflation rate accelerated. US CPI year-to-year 2.9%, total at 3.2% on core on a December-January report. So clearly they didn't meet the estimation in terms of above 3% in terms of total CPI and the PPI. But that's the reason why the Federal Reserve Jeremy Powell says it's highly likely to actually increase the interest rate. So the biggest one as well is coming the following next week, which is on the 29th of Jan, to see if the Jeremy Powell is gonna cut the interest rate. But according to this CPI's non-farm payrolls, it shows that the rates they're a little bit below. They're not going above the 3% as the Federal Reserve estimated that it has to go above 3% for them to have the indication so that they can start or continue cutting the interest rate. So right, man, you still with me with Che Yusuf. Keep watching. Right now we're gonna go in a market and see how the market has been performing from last week up to now. It is the Daily Money Market. We're gonna start with the biggest instrument, which is NAS 100. I'm trying to put maybe in a bigger time frame for our time frame. Here's the market, how it's been performing. I think if you look at it on the 15, let's take it on the 14th of Jan, the market was sitting, Nasdaq was sitting at 20,699. And what happened is with a PPI, producer price index, and the CPI, it bullishes the instrument all the way to Let me see, all the way to 21,435. But again, the highest position of Nasdaq, we all know last year it went all the way to 23,000. I think, if I may recall correct, 23,000, somewhere around there. So it pushes the price up a little bit during the week, which is it get to 21,435. From yesterday, with the consumer price index, that's where we saw the depreciation of NAS 100. Again, there's been a lot of earnings report that has been coming. Bank of America, they have actually reported the earnings yesterday. Citibank as well, they reported earnings on Tuesday. So there will be a rolling of first quarter earnings as well, which is all these stocks and the banks, they are listed under these stocks as well, in terms of the stock market, on a stock exchange. So what it means is that when the earnings are not performing very very well, it definitely affects the stocks as well. So the consumer price index, we see the depreciation, as we saw the numbers, that it was 2.9%, estimated 3.2%. So they didn't reach the 3.2. And again, even the feds themselves, they're saying that it's highly likely to cut the interest rate this month because of the consumer price index that come and the producer price index. It's not above 3%. So depreciation, this is the dip that we saw. If we go to a smaller time frame, we can see it's from here all the way down. That's been couple of money that you can actually make. So when it comes to pips, we can even calculate it, how many pips. That would be 3745, 3,745 pips, 45 points that has been moved all the way down. And now you can see it's collecting a little bit. My anticipation, of course, today it's Friday, last day of the week, it will collect a little bit, maybe get to 21,195, and then start depreciating. I think by the end of the week, by the end of today, market close, it will be on 20,800 on those type of position, even maybe below to 20,700, so that when it comes to Monday, the market can restart again afresh from the bottom, right? Remember, Monday is the biggest week, it's the biggest day. It is the inauguration of President Donald Trump to get in a White House. A lot of instrument they're gonna move, a lot of instrument they're gonna have a big movement. So same as the CPI, consumer price index. I mean, same as USDT. Sorry about that. It's a lot of price index in my head, but that's how it is if you actually been in a market for very very long time. Again, when it comes to US data, some they call it the Dow, the house of the Dow Jones. You can see it was above, it depreciate, it push up. So Dow Jones is the only one right now that actually move against Nasdaq and as well as S&P 500. So we saw all the S&P 500 and Nasdaq depreciating towards the during the consumer price index, but now the Dow Jones push the price up, actually above to the limit that I put last week. But you can see it's the same range that is being ranging. What are we anticipating? We're still anticipating a drop when it comes to Dow Jones to drop a little bit to 4270, for the 2,704, somewhere around there. It might drop to go all the way below, but not really. It's not highly likely anticipation. So we're anticipating a drop so that the market can start again below. But again, think about it. Dow Jones, it's a little bit below in terms of movement comparing to Nasdaq and the USDT. So right now, Nasdaq and the USDT already retraced back and start collecting above, and it's gonna retrace back again. But now Dow is already above, so it has to come back and then retest again. Maybe Monday, that's where it's gonna retest certain position and then start giving the bullish market because of how things has been doing in also in Europe. Again, we saw Madam Jessie speaking, last week. We saw also consumer price index from Europe that pushes the FTSE 100 from the 14th all the way to today, the 17th. You see the FTSE 100 sitting at 8,437. Is there any possibility that the FTSE will drop? I don't think so at the moment. I think FTSE 100 it's actually going to break the records and form the new high. Here it is. This is the new high. If we can see, not really. I think the highest was 84,000. 486. No, 8,486. 8,486. So that's what I'm thinking the target is going to, the 8,486. So it's continuously a bullish movement since the whole week until the end of the week. Then we will see the following week what type of news are coming and how the Dow is gonna, how FTSE 100 is gonna perform, which is they call it the UK 100 again. Japan, the biggest city in Japan, it's Hong Kong. Again, we just received the news that says the president of Japan has been detained for some of the crazy scandals that are happening in Japan. And then we see the Hong Kong 50. This is the biggest Japanese stock. It's 50 companies, about 50 companies that combining that are trading in Japan or that are actually doing the business in Japan, and they're listed in in Hong Kong 50, which is Japanese stock, and being traded in Japanese stock exchange, which is one of the biggest stock exchange when it comes to entire stock exchange. It's one of the biggest stock exchange that pushes the Asian market when the Asian market are actually performing at night time when it comes to here in Johannesburg or in Africa. So we saw it from the little bit bigger time frame, bullish movement. I really think it's because of the detain of the leader in Japan that gives a little bit of a strong and a Japanese yen at the moment to have a bullish movement on its strong. Maybe the investors, they're having a little bit of confidence because of the scandals of corruption of those leaders. They're being taken out. So they're being detained, and that's the news. And we saw the news from Bloomberg, we saw the news from also Al Jazeera that comes, this week. So yeah, we saw Japanese Hong Kong 50 bullishing up. Where exactly it's going, the Hong Kong 50? Is there a higher possibility to push a little bit up? Yes, it might get to 20,000. Maybe it's too high, the 20,000, and maybe 20,098. 20,098 again. It was so complimenting when Trump comes in. He's a man of tariff. He says a lot of companies that are operating outside of United States, but if they are from United States, there will be a little bit of more tariff. So we're going to monitor this very, very closely and very clearly to see how the market is gonna perform. Again, we can move to a dollar to rand. This is our currency that we measure ourselves in terms of the dollar. Still sitting at 1880, 18 rand to 80 cent to a dollar to a rand. But if you look at it where exactly it's coming for a week, woo, it's been depreciating because the dollar was sitting, rand to a dollar was sitting at 1918 cents, and now pushes back all the way to 1875. It's still playing around at 1880. So it was a bearish movement when it comes to consumer price index of the United States, and we're still waiting here in South Africa the Federal Reserve of governor to give us our first quarter in terms of the interest rate. I think it will be the end of this month. The other interesting we're going to look at, it's gold. Right. So for the fact that the consumer price index and the PPI and the NFP, they were not surpassing the estimation numbers. They didn't do good. They give the safe haven, which is gold, to have a higher, performance. So we can see the bullish movement of gold all the way to 2,725, 2,725. Of course, it's not the high, but this is the highest position that it's been on the 6th of December. The last time it was in this position, it was on the 6th of December. Now it's it reaches on that position this week. Where exactly are we anticipating? Remember, when Donald Trump comes in Monday, right, we're anticipating our gold to fall, to come back to this position. The reason why the dollar is gonna get a little bit of stability, and which is the vice versa of dollar, it's gold, and it is a safe haven to a dollar. It's now starting to it will now start to depreciate to 2,658. That's what we've been anticipating, that from Monday we are actually seeing the stocks rising up, gold falling. The last more instrument that we have to look is Bitcoin, because of how Donald Trump always liked Bitcoin. Look at how Bitcoin is sitting at the moment, guys. This is crazy. I said last year that Bitcoin is gonna get to $120,000 before the end of December. But clearly, it didn't get to 120, but it get to 100,000. It is sitting at $100,000 right now, in terms of $101,000 right now to a Bitcoin. I mean, look at it. Look how the week has been pushing for a Bitcoin. To those who participating on Bitcoin, please do not move, do not shift, do not do anything. Keep bullishing this instrument. This instrument is gonna go to 150, especially from Monday. Bitcoin, it's gonna go all the way to 110 to 120 starting from the week of Monday. So this is how the market has been performing for entire week and the preparation of the following week. I've given a little bit of clue to people to understand where the market is going and how it's gonna perform. Again, Monday I'm gonna have the live analysis about the inauguration of Donald Trump. We're going to look at the market. We're going to listen to the market analysts, how they're talking about in terms of the stocks, in terms of the instrument, in terms of the cryptocurrencies itself. It is with me, Chair Yusuf. Keep watching, man. The Daily Money Market is only the platform that you can understand the markets, the forex market, the CFDs, contract for difference market, that you can be able to participate and take advantage of it. It is the Daily Money Market. All right, man. Just to recap in terms of what has been happening and how what I've been talking about. As we said, Monday there was a Federal Reserve was speaking on Monday. That's what drives the market on Monday this week. On Tuesday, there was a bank earnings where we saw Morgan Stanley reporting the bank earnings. We talk about that it's been a week of earnings. Morgan Stanley, Citibank, Bank of America, they are also expecting to release the bank earnings this week. Again, there was a retail sales on Tuesday that drives the market as well when it comes to high impact events, all the way going to Friday. And then on Tuesday as well, we saw producer price index. On Wednesday, that's where we saw consumer price index. On Friday, which is today, the only biggest news that we can expect, it's housing states from United States, that is coming on Friday. Then coming on Monday, the inauguration of United States elected president Donald Trump. And again, when it comes to CPI signal, cooling of inflation, CPI plus 0.4 core, CPI plus 3.2 year to year. The biggest increase, it was a gasoline, natural gas, airfares and used cars. What went down? It's eggs, medical cares, health insurance, and apparels. So those are the UK core CPI that happened, the core inflation that happened last week. So yeah, man, that's it when it comes to the market recap of the week. We've been analyzing the market. We've been checking how the market has been performing the previous week. So I really appreciate for watching this video. Thank you very much. My name is Che Yusuf. I would appreciate if you actually subscribe. I'm on the road to 500, just the 500 subscribes. Then we can push to 1,000 subscribes. Please subscribe, please share with other guys. Trust me, these videos has clearly a good information that gives you a little bit of clue about the market, and as well as give you a little bit of idea how you can be able to catch the market and stay relevant in the market. So thank you very much. My name is Che Yusuf. This was the Daily Money Market from Johannesburg.